So welcome to the People Performance Podcast with me, Martin Johnson. Today is exciting for me because it's the very first episode of a brand new series, The Leader Lounge, with me, the founder of T2. These are going to be a series of 15-minute, sharp, short, but really impactful content modules around anything to do with leadership, self-awareness, mental agility. It could be something around confidence. It can be anything that we do here at T2. So it's not just reserved for leaders. These podcasts will be relevant for everybody. So today's topic we're going to kick off with is emotional granularity. Now, emotional granularity was a word that I used in my recent book, I Am Human, Pain and Pleasure. And I'm going to refer to a couple of things in the book throughout this short Leader Lounge series. Lisa Feldman Barrett is a famous psychologist, and she's written several books, but she came up with a great one-liner around emotional granularity, which was, as humans, we all have emotions, but we need to get our butterflies flying in formation. And I love that saying because butterflies are a signal of anxiety. They're a signal of worry. They're a signal of stress and duress. Something might be important to us, or something might carry some consequence. So instead of allowing those butterflies to flutter around in our stomach and make us feel incredibly anxious and worried and scared, Lisa Feldman Barrett says, get them flying in formation, which says if we understand how to achieve emotional granularity, we can make use of it and we can harness it for the greater good. So I explore this in the book, and I guess the first port of call on this episode is to explain what we mean by emotional granularity. So emotions come and go, and they're a direct result of brain chemicals releasing in our brain. I say chemicals, but that's a simplified way of putting it. They're neurotransmitters from the brain that send signals to make us feel in a certain way. As we talk about here in T2, that comes from our evolutionary background, our need to survive, our fight or flight, our ability to run away from that saber-toothed tiger. It's also our a need for pleasure and reward. So when we gravitate to things that give us purpose or reward or recognition or whatever it might be. So emotions play an important role in our life because they inform us how we feel about certain things. And the chemicals in the brain that release, like dopamine, oxytocin, cortisol, serotonin, all these different things that are designed to make us feel either good and fulfilled about something or very anxious and nervous and worried about something. Emotional granularity, therefore, is this ability to interpret those emotions, to identify them, interpret them, and accurately assess the depth with specificity. Now, that's a word that I've practiced a long time, so I'm glad I nailed it first time on this pod. But specificity is be specific about what you are feeling. So, for example, we might have a bad day at work, or we're struggling with relationships, or we're under the pump, whatever it might be. And instead of saying, I feel bad, or I feel like shit, emotional granularity is our ability to identify what it is that we're actually feeling. Is it frustration? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it worry? Is it resentment? Is it guilt? What is the specificity of the emotion that we are experiencing in the moment? Because if we can get specific and accurate with what we're feeling, we have a far better chance of identifying what made us feel like that in the first place. So emotional granularity is our ability to go a bit deeper with identifying our thoughts, emotions, and feelings. Now, in the book, I talk about a couple of tips to be able to achieve emotional granularity. And so what I'd probably say is let's categorize general worries or general emotions. And this is not from a positive perspective, because obviously some of our emotions can be incredibly endearing and positive. If we feel happiness, if we feel content, if we feel fulfilled, if we feel love or care, whatever it might be. But let's talk on this podcast around the stuff that we really need to get a grip of, is when our emotions are more troubling or potentially more harming in the form of stress, worries, anxiety. So breaking down the feeling of pain and discomfort is incredibly important. And in the book, I talk about how you do this and how you break it down. So firstly, we have to ask ourselves two key questions when it comes to identifying whether your pain and discomfort is physical or mental. So, really simple first question, is what I am experiencing, is it a physical pain and discomfort, or is it a mental pain or discomfort? That's the first question. The second question is this, did this happen in or occur in the past? Is it happening or occurring in the present? Or is this something I perceive may happen in the future? And that's really important. So I'm going to read a couple of examples out from the book. Let's start with physical. So if you are identifying that your pain or discomfort might be in the physical past, this is something that's caused you physical pain or discomfort previously. An example of this might be a previous accident, a serious injury, or an abusive relationship as an example. Something that you're now recollecting that physically harmed you and gave you pain and discomfort in the past. It also might mean that you're experiencing an emotion in the physical present, which is something that is causing you that physical pain right now. The examples of this could be a tough workout, headache, chronic pain, whatever it might be. But what you're saying is the emotions I am experiencing are as a result of something that's physically demanding or uncomfortable for me right now in the present. The third table in this one is physical future. So this is where you are experiencing emotions that are making you feel uncomfortable or are causing you some pain and distress because of something that you are perceiving may happen in the future. Now, this is an incredibly important one because there'll be a lot of people watching this that experience what I call hypothetical worrying. If my wife's watching this, she will be the number one guilty party of this. It's where you worry about something happening to you in the future, which right now in the here or now is only hypothetical. It's not true. But you spend your moments and your times worrying about what if and what might happen. Examples of this might be you worry about becoming ill, or you worry about having a car accident, or ultimately, a lot of human beings worry about dying. What might happen to me physically in the future that is causing the emotional response now? So the first question is what I'm experiencing, are the emotions I'm feeling physical or mental? And is it happening in the past, in the present, or do I perceive it may happen in the future? And we've just gone through the three areas there where you can easily worry about physical past, physical present, or physical future. The second part of that was mental. So this is not something that is causing you physical harm in the real world. This is something that is causing you mental or psychological harm, or you perceive that it is. Mental past. So something that caused a mental pain or discomfort in the past. This could have been something as simple like negative feedback from your old boss. It could have been losing a job that you absolutely dearly loved. Or it could have been a relationship breakdown, that you're still not dealing with mentally and psychologically. Mental past is where something's happened that's triggered a challenge to you mentally in the past, and you're still reliving that or bringing it to the fore. And therefore, in the moment, it's causing you that emotional response. Mental present, something that is causing you mental pain or discomfort right in the here and now. Speaking in public is a classic example of that. The amount of people I know who they're about to go on stage, they're about to give a presentation to a big audience, and that brain takes over and it starts saying to you, well, what if you go wrong? What if it's no good? What if people laugh at you? What if you start sweating? What if you mispronounce your words? And so you're experiencing the emotions and pain and discomfort in the present because mentally your brain is playing havoc with you. And then the mental future, again, hypothetical worriers will do this. They might not always worry about the physical harm that can come to me in the future, or critical illness, or not being here for my kids, or whatever it might be. But mental future could be fear of losing a loved one. That's not even happened, and there's no immediate physical danger, but you're mentally worrying about the repercussions and how you're going to deal with that when it arrives. Financial worries. Some people are absolutely financially sound right now, but it doesn't take away the fact that your brain can play havoc with you because it craves survival and stability, that you can worry about the what ifs of the future financially. And what if I'm not able to pay my mortgage or my bills or be able to retire effectively? And the fear of failure is a big one. A lot of people in the mental future situation worry about failing, worry about not being good enough, worry about what if things go wrong. And therefore, in the present, that can stimulate an awful lot of emotions and pain and discomfort that come to the surface. And so, emotional granularity, if this is making sense, is your ability to identify what you are experiencing in the moment. And the way you do that is you ask two questions. Is my pain and discomfort right here and now and the emotions associated with it, is it physical or mental? And then the second question is this something that's happened in the past that I am recollecting and looking back on? Is it something that's right in front of me and is here in the present? Or is it something I'm hypothetically worrying about that I perceive may happen in the future, which right now I can't control? Once you have the answer to that, you'll be able to pinpoint the specific emotion you are now feeling as a result of that. I'll give you a couple of examples of this. I have done this analysis on myself, and I hardly ever worry about or experience any worries about physical, past, present, or future. And I don't dwell on the past mentally, if I'm honest, too much. I don't have any mental past. All my frustrations and all my pain and discomfort, if you like, is either mental present or mental future. And I can probably give you a couple of examples, and I shared these in my book, In Pain and Pleasure. I said the two I resonate with the most is, in the present, I feel looking bad in front of others and being overly challenged or repressed. In the future, I fear failure or a lack of progress towards my goals. I also fear the prospect of not being financially sound. Now, although I've shared that in my book to thousands of people, it's the first time I've shared that on camera, but it's the truth. It's the two things I know will stoke that emotional response, that pain and discomfort in the moment to me. And so what I did was I made a table. I made a little bit of it's like my personal trigger guide. And what I did is I wrote down all the things in the present and the future, mental present and future, that caused me to have this response. And I listed the specific emotion that I feel when it arises. So I'll just go through the list and then we can wrap this up. My list is this, my personal trigger guide. Being kept from doing what I want to do. If that happens, I feel annoyed. And I've wrote that word specifically. I get annoyed if I'm being kept from doing what I want to do. Being told I'm wrong about something. Absolutely. Right now, Amy's laughing behind the camera. But being told I'm wrong about something, I feel annoyed again. That's another one that would trigger the emotional response of being annoyed. Being attacked or criticized, I feel annoyed. Making slow progress towards my goals, people being slow or slow progress or things not happening quick enough, I feel frustrated. Now, the reason that's important is because being frustrated for me is different to annoyed. I'd almost rather be annoyed. Frustrated for me, when I look at emotional granularity, that's my worst place to be. When I'm frustrated and irritable, I struggle to get out of it. One thing leads into another, and then I go nitpicking and I go looking. I'd rather be annoyed, say my piece, have it done and move on. Being frustrated is the one I've got to watch out for. Failing in something that I am responsible for. I've put, I feel scared. Scared is in a different emotion for me than frustrated or annoyed. Scared is possibly the only time I withdraw and go within myself. It's very rare in my personality type, but if I feel that something I am ultimately responsible for is failing, it puts me in this state of fear and I feel scared. And sometimes I bounce out of it, hopefully pretty quickly, but it's not a comfortable place I like to be. Encountering slow-moving people or inaction, again, I feel frustrated. Feeling a lack of control or influence. When I don't have the control or influence, I feel anxious. And I've used the word anxious there. It gives me anxiety if I don't control my environment. Sometimes even when we're going away for a weekend and if I've not planned it and I don't know what we're doing and where we're going, I sometimes struggle. I'm getting better at that, by the way, certainly in my personal life. And finally, feeling a lack of ownership or accountability from others. I feel frustrated again when others aren't becoming accountable for what I need them to do. As you can see, I've managed to associate specific emotions to a granular level to things that trigger me in the mental present or the mental future, because I've already identified that the main type of pain and discomfort I feel is mental present or mental future. All it took for me then is to list a bunch of things that cause that and associate the emotions I feel with it. And I have worked out coping mechanisms to be able to deal with being annoyed, deal with frustration, and deal with being scared and anxious. And that is emotional granularity. So I'd love to talk about it more, and I guess we could probably record an entire hour on this topic. If you want to check out other people's work around this, I would recommend you listen to Lisa Feldman Barrett. She's recorded some amazing podcasts. She's got some good books. I think there's a few YouTube videos with Lisa on as well. You can read I Am Human Pain and Pleasure, which is my book. I write about this in a whole chapter of how it governs our pain and pleasure system. But just going away from this first Leader Lounge today, I would say do the exercise I've just done. Think about what troubles you, what emotions you feel, and what pain and discomfort you feel. And if it's more triggered around mental or physical, and if it's more around things that have happened in the past, is it more things that are happening to you in the present? Or are you that chronic hypothetical worrier who worries about things in the future that haven't even happened yet? That's a starting point. When you can then pinpoint the major aspects of your pain, discomfort, and worrying, you can then do your personal trigger guide, which says, let's write all the situations that come along that, or no matter how stupid it is, especially with future worries, by the way, writing a diary of future worries, you can scare yourself because you can realize how much your brain wanders. But be open with it and write down all the things that cause it. And then I want you to get really specific and write down not just how it makes you feel, but what is the emotion? Because there's a difference between being angry, sad, frustrated, resentful, envious. There's a difference between them all. And so when you get to that point, you can then ask yourself your question, okay, number one, how am I going to deal with that emotion? And number two, why do I feel that in the first place? Why do I have to get envious or frustrated or sad? It helps you get really deep and granular and unpick the core reasons as to why it's making it happen. And if you reframe them in the mind, sometimes you can lessen the response in the future. And we're going into a little bit of CBT and other stuff there, but just try that initial exercise from this Leader Lounge episode and see if it can just start to identify a little bit more information that will put you in good stead and help you going forward. And that is emotional granularity. So that was the first episode. I believe I've done it in one take. Amy will tell me different. But hopefully we'll be back with more. We will be back with more. And if you've enjoyed the episode and you want more short 15, 20-minute snippets, please comment on the podcast or the video. Please put some stuff you'd like to hear about, whether it's leadership, whether it's psychology, self-awareness, how the brain works, whether it's managing triggers, whether it's building teams, high performance, whatever it might be. No silly suggestions. Put it in the comments and we'll stick it on the schedule and we'll do some 15-minute sound bites for you. But other than that, that's all for now, and we will be back shortly with another Leader Lounge episode.